as we wait for Lax a little bit about while you hear from him, it's the best way of managing Tableau created licenses. So we'll be talking about the recent implementation of Tableau and a new way of applying the license manage or the LBLM license management and tips and tricks that Laxmi has seen within his organization. I can see you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Good evening.
Good evening. So you can hear me good?
Yeah, that's perfect. If you want to share your screen, we'll get going.
Okay. Hope you can see.
I can see your screen. That's perfect. I'll take it away.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, David. I'll take it over from here. And thanks, James. So we all know how the communities help build the relationships, right? And also, so along with the external TUGs like this, so building internal communities also help the guys who just start with the product or so whatever it is, right? So we know if a fresher is starting with some product and he has someone to guide him or give him a hand when he needs, so that helps him so much rather he's spending a lot of time on the tool. So with that, I'll start with my session. Let me make it first. Yeah. So login-based license management. So Tableau has from 2020.1 onwards, it's introduced LBLM method, which is a different way to manage your creator licenses. So when I joined my current organization, so one of the questions that I've received from my management is like, okay, we have 100 creator licenses, and how many licenses are being actively used, and who are the people who haven't used since last 3 months, last 6 months, or who are the people, let's say they have taken the key but they haven't activated the product. There are people who does that as well, right? So these are the questions that I got from them as soon as I joined. We can enable the desktop reporting, I know that, but all of a sudden when you have 100 licenses distributed across different people in different functions, so it's hard to get that information, right, when you don't have the reporting is enabled already. So that's where I started up digging how better we can do this, how better when you have an organization who are using 300, 400, 500 creator licenses, how better you can build a reporting, and as well as how better you can manage the licenses so you can efficiently use them. So that's the challenge that we have started to deal with, right? So first is like you have different licenses and you will distribute those to different people. So at the end, you have a portal where you can see which license has been given to whom, but it's difficult to track back. Let's say I've given the license to user A and he has given that offline to user B, you'll never know. So that's one of the challenge. And how do you do the monitoring, whether a person is using it actively or haven't used, as I said. And last, how do you reclaim a license if a person doesn't want the license, or if a person's manager says, okay, David doesn't need a license, so just take it back. I can say to David that we'll take your license back, but I cannot guarantee that he's not using or he's not continually using the product. I cannot guarantee that point with the way that we are doing the licensing management so far. But with the LBLM came in, started from 2020.1, so we don't need a key. So unlike the earlier way where we have to distribute the product key, so you don't need a key in order to distribute it to each and every user, which we were using before. It's just a sign in that, which I'm going to show you guys how the activation happens. And also there is another administrative view that can help us. So how many keys that were activated, where have been those are being used, and whether it's been in active use or not. So these are all built by default. You don't need to enable any reporting or any other commands. You don't need to do anything on the client side, which is desktop side, which is a tedious task to do. Also reclaiming, it's more easy now because you don't need to tell user that I'm taking your license back and you stop using it. We know not to do. We just tell them that we are taking your license back, that's it. So all you can surely say that if a creator license has been taken back from one person, you can make sure that he doesn't use it going forward, right? So how do you start to switching from an older way of licensing to the way that we are doing? So how do we make this switch, right? So it has to be done on a Tableau server, because Tableau server plays a key role on this method. So that server needs to be connected to internet all the time. And the other ways, or the other thing is, so the creator key that you have, let's say as of today, if I have 10 creator licenses I have bought from Tableau, so I'll get 11 keys, right? So 10 individual keys which I need to distribute to different users for the desktops and prep builders, and one key for server. But now we'll have a one key, only one key, that with an LBLM enabled option. So I just need to activate that on the server and run few simple commands. So that will activate, just like I've shown in the slides. So these are simple commands. If I go in deep, just activate them on the server so that your environment is ready for the setup. And there are some versions which Tableau says you have to be on these versions so that you can use. So these are the versions. If it is on the server, you need to have 2020.1. If it is a desktop that you want to go for this kind of method to activate, it has to be 2020.1 plus, and builder is 1.3 plus. So if I show you that in action, yeah, so this is the desktop that I've just installed, and I'm at the activation screen. Hope you guys can see my screen, right? Because I switched the windows. Say yes if you can see. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So if you look at the activation window, earlier we used to have only activate with product key, where you used to activate the product key and blah blah blah. But now you can simply activate it by signing into a server. Okay, so here I've given my localhost because it's installed locally, but it will be your enterprise Tableau server, right? So I'll just log in. So the easiest way is, like, you don't need to share the key, or that key cannot be shared with anybody else. If I want one person to use this product, I can say sign in with SSO, or I can fill in the form here. I mean, just give the username and password. So I'll say use my Windows credentials. Just go to one side where you have the creator license, right? That's it. There you go. So your product has been activated. So what if I want to just take back the license from the person who is using it? What I'll do, I'll just quickly go to my server, so which has an administrator has to do. He can simply change his role. So right now I have a creator server administrator. Whoever have these creator, site admin, creator, and creator server admin, they can activate without any issues. So I'll simply change the user license back to Explorer or a viewer, or if he doesn't need a server access at all, I'll make them unlicensed and remove later on. So that will make them, that make sure that the license has been taken back, and we don't need to worry if he's still using it or how that's happening, right? So it's more easy way to do. If I go to the pre-built dashboards, so I can see an additional dashboard in here, login based license usage. So which will give me view like who has installed using creator key, and who has what product they have installed, or which version they have installed, when they have used it last. It's taking a while, sorry for that. Let me show you on the presentation that I already had. Yeah. So if you look at it, so it will, I have just masked the names and stuff. So if you look at it, I can see when they have activated and when they have last used, each and every details that I can capture from that report without any additional reporting, right? Without having any additional reporting on. Also, let's say if I have taken back one of the creators seat, so it will show me what was their role and what is their current role. So even that reporting also I have. Yeah, so saying that, it has all of the issues that I have with my older kind of way of managing licenses. It made it so easy that I can do, I don't have an issue of key distributions. I don't need to take care of different keys, different people. So where is it going? Is it offline or online? I don't need to take care of anything else. It's just that you just have to enable this on your Tableau server, and then it just works like that. But the migration part, if you have large number of users, wherein the migration parts, it's a bit like coordinations with different functions, which we have done in our organization, like dealing with more than 350 creator licenses that we have while we were doing this migration. So talking to different functions that are available in the organization, telling them that this is what we are doing. If you're using an old key, just switch it with the document of procedures that we are giving you. But even though that process is hectic, but once we are done with that complete process, it's much more easy. Let's say if my license is going to be renewed in some time, right? If my license is going to be renewed in maybe a month or 2 months, with the older licensing method that I have to distribute individual key to each and every one. Or if I have to take back, if I have to stop somebody, it's very difficult. But with the way that I have now, I'll just reactivate the key on the server so that it's so easy, right? So it helped us. I hope the session helped you guys as well. So with that, I'll take the questions.
Thank you very much. Great talk. And I for one, I really like LBLM. I think it's a really LBLM. For those that don't know, it's what Tableau calls this new licensing model. So if you're trying to move in that direction, you can always ask Tableau about that. I have a question for you. So Tableau, this is the question from Anuj. Tableau allows licenses to be on 2 machines. How does that work with this licensing model?
So LBLM, we did not test on 2 machines so far. So because all of our guys are VDIs, so mostly they're used on a single machine. So with the way that we are working, I don't see that problem. But let's say if you have it's already installed on one machine and yes, you want to move it back to other machine. So you have a command that you could quickly run on machine 1, which I can show you, that you can run on whoever is having desktop. So you have to run this command. So it will remove the licensing information from your machine, because unlike the way earlier we have to uninstall a license, right? So just to deactivate the product. So that is not the way that we have to do. You don't have an option to deactivate now because it's being activated using use LBM method. So rather you have to just run this command so that you can move this to other machine. But having on 2 different machines parallelly, that is something that you probably need to check with the support guys.
Okay, no, that's perfect. Thank you. Yeah. And there's a few other questions, but we'll leave those to be asked at the tables. Lexi, that was a great talk. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And again, if there are any questions, don't forget you can always join in at the tables. But if the table is full and the speaker is not there, please give them some space to join so they can answer your questions.